left our Airbnb spot for the last 2 nights, which was called Habitat, and that place was pretty awesome. A little off-grid, like totally built by the owner, little house. So that was really cool. I'm glad we did that. And as we were leaving, we said that we were going to get the ferry to Vieques, and he had the same reaction that all the other locals have, where they kind of laugh and say good luck, because the ferry is notoriously off schedule and kind of erratic. But so he called one of his friends who works for the ferry, or he's like the ferry captain or something, and then he got off the phone and he goes, "Oh, you're fine today. The ferries are running on schedule." So hopefully we're good. Makes me feel a little better. We drove from Santa Isabel, which is on the southern coast of Puerto Rico, up through the interior of the island, and then over to the west side where the new ferry terminal is located. We liked this drive because we got to see a little bit more of the interior of the island, the mountains, and it was this transition process of going from the south side of the island where it's drier to the north side of the island where everything is lush and green. After Hurricane Maria, the ferry terminal was relocated because of damage to the previous location. So we made sure we were at the right place, and we actually got a ticket for the 12:45 ferry, which we thought everything was going to be great. We had our ticket, we were there on time, we were able to grab some food. But when it came time to actually board the ferry, we were standing in line and they closed the gate and said that the ferry was full. Apparently they don't count the tickets, they just sell any number of tickets and you may or may not get onto that ferry. So we ended up waiting almost another 2 hours for the next ferry, and that next ferry was actually the cargo ferry, which is much slower when it does the trip from the mainland out to Vieques. But we were just happy to be on the ferry heading to the island.
Diana, ¿dónde se lo dejo?
The deck of the cargo ferry is used to bring large equipment over to the island. So if you're a passenger on this ferry, you are underneath the ship, and there were these little portholes that we could barely see out of. Once we got onto the island, we figured out that we had another challenge in front of us. We had excellent cell phone coverage on the mainland of Puerto Rico, but on Vieques we had 0 cell service, so we weren't really sure how to find a taxi or get a ride to the opposite side of the island. Patrick eventually got somebody at the ferry terminal to contact a van that was going to the other side of the island.
It's an everyday wrong, but
prior to the trip, when I was booking everything, I had read that there wasn't a lot of stuff to do on Vieques, and somebody had recommended that it was just a one-night stop. But after staying there, I think I could have spent much more than one night there. This was one of the days that we actually spent in a regular hotel. So the ferry terminal comes in kind of on the north side of the island, and then we had to get this van because there are no regular taxis, no Uber, and no cell phone service. So the van finally took us over to the opposite side of the island. And the ironic thing was we wanted to stay on this side of the island because this is where the bioluminescent bay was located. This is our first actual normal hotel room on this trip. It's good. It smells nice. It's better than the other hotel room in San Juan. And we have a regular shower, which I'm hoping has some sort of water pressure, because we haven't had a good shower pretty much since we got here, since the first day. Sink. There we go. It's very interesting getting here though. the ferry and then trying to get a taxi. There's no regular taxis. It was...
Just got a phone number from one of the ladies that works at the port for the ferry.
very strange. By the time we had checked into our hotel and settled in, we walked out across the street to try to see if we could book a tour that night for the bioluminescent bay. Now, I guess I probably should have booked this ahead of time, but I wasn't anticipating all of the delays with the ferry, so by the time we got there, it was actually too late for us to go on to the tour, which was really quite disappointing because it was actually one of the things that made us pick Puerto Rico as a destination. We wanted to see the bioluminescent bay. So instead, we changed our plans, and it ended up being a great evening no matter what. We went down to the beach and enjoyed some time with this almost secluded beach. We were almost the only people there. And then we headed back up to the promenade to watch the best sunset that we got to see throughout the entire trip. And we would have missed those things if we had actually been on the tour. So in a way, things kind of work out the way that they are supposed to. And it just makes us want to go back and visit Puerto Rico again even more, so that hopefully the next time we get to see the bioluminescence. After the sun finally went all the way down, we decided that tonight was going to be the night we would do a very nice dinner to soften the blow of missing the bioluminescent bay tour. We went to the restaurant that was right in front of the hotel that we were staying at, and normally we're very budget conscious, but this was a gift from my parents. Oh, does it smell good? What is it?
Okay.
Coconut water, Thai,
Hydration.
basil, something. We ordered drinks. Patrick got paella with traditional Puerto Rican meats, and I got a seafood curry with really fresh seafood. We even got dessert, so it was a fancy meal, and we had the company of this chicken.
There's a sprout. It's all puppy. Hello, puppy. Okay, good night.
Are we locked out? It's the one with the number 3 on it. The next morning I woke up early and went for a walk down to the promenade. I brought the camera and I was planning on doing some filming, specifically filming for my other channel on YouTube where I share yoga videos and meditation videos. A trip like this is the perfect place to record background audio of the ocean and to get some nice video of the waves and sitting on the beach. The beaches here were absolutely amazing. I think I could have spent an entire week just getting up every day and sitting on this sand and watching these waves, and I would never have gotten bored. I started to head back toward our hotel room to see if Patrick was awake. I could have stayed on that beach for so much longer, but after our one brief night on Vieques, it was time for us to turn around and head back to the ferry. And we were really unsure. After our experience with the ferry yesterday, we just did not know what to expect. We met another couple who was also heading to the ferry in front of our hotel room, and they helped us to get onto one of the vans that was heading over to the ferry. So we actually made it on time. And on this side, they seemed like they were much more organized. We were put into a seating area that seemed like it might have been counted out to the correct number of people, but the whole time we were waiting, we were still really nervous because we were not sure if we were going to actually make it onto the ferry to get back to Puerto Rico's mainland.
Since they're all going on to that one, I'm guessing we're going to
It's like right there, but you can't see it.
Yeah.
Not that far.
As promised, the ferry was a very interesting experience, and the good thing is we made it back. We actually got on the right ferry at the right time, right? They were on time. Yeah. But it was funny because, so the ferry cost $2 a person each way, so it was $8 round trip, but then to park our car at the ferry terminal was $11.20 for like basically 24 hours. So more expensive to park than to go on the ferry. But now we are hopefully going to find something to eat because we didn't eat anything yet. We were so nervous about getting on the ferry. Food was not a priority this morning, but now we're heading up and around toward the rainforest. From the ferry terminal, we headed toward the rainforest, which was just a little over an hour drive because we were going around to the other side. We stopped off to get lunch here and some excellent coffee. This place was really great. And then headed to our next Airbnb.